Do you remember the Frontera, that small rugged SUV? Well, I'm happy to say that it's back after 20 years here in this brand new avatar on this new platform. I'm AJ, you're watching Autogefühl, and let's dive right in. First, the design. Opel's new language is bold and pure, and we can see those elements right away. For example, the wing-shaped daytime running LED lights, the Opel logo on top of this new mask as well. And down here, this lower bumper, to me looks like a pouting lower lip. What do you guys think? But I really do like the three-dimensional sculpted effect here in the air intake. It looks really complicated. It looks like it was a lot of money to design and engineer and manufacture this. But overall, this is a lot more rugged than the Crossland, which is what this car replaces. What I do know is it's about 4.38 meters long. 17-inch wheels in this particular model looks pretty good actually. The nice big sidewall lends that SUV character along with the blacked out wheel arches. But very minimal design lines, nothing here on the belt line either, small crease down there. But this upright stance with this floating roof effect in this contrast color looks pretty nice to me. At the back, I do like the twin line for the headlamp design. Kind of reminds me of the Hyundai Santa Fe and some of the new models that we've seen recently from the Korean manufacturer, but nevertheless, very sharp, very modern. The new Opel logo here as well, and the Frontera badging right down there. Overall, a neat design, but what do you think? Put it down in the comments below. You know we love to show you the lights and the indicators, but this being a pre-production prototype, they unfortunately don't work. All right, let's take a look inside, starting with the door sound. I would say solid. I didn't see any shimmies along this hinge. But what about the door? Well, the materials are certainly pretty hard and hollow. You can tell that it's built to the price, and well, Opel does plan to launch this at a very competitive price, so I hope it makes up for this. But that being said, the armrest here where you put your elbow is soft and padded. But what takes center stage are these two 10-inch displays which contain a very neat layout, and also this new steering wheel, which, do you guys remember that old Opel Roadster? That design really reminds me of that. And finally, the seats are also really new and very nicely contoured. You might see this little butt crack in the middle, but that's designed to take the pressure off of your tailbone on long drives. Seating position is really great, and as Opel always, they have a slightly firmer foam and padding in their seats, so that really lends a lot of support to your back on long drives. Headroom is gargantuan. Look at that. I can fit like my whole palm upwards. I could be wearing like one of those giant cowboy hats and still fit inside, not a problem at all. In fact, the seat is also upright. I haven't put it all the way in the lowest position. So generally, really good headroom. Width is not spectacular. I can almost, if I sit here, I'm almost touching the edge. But this is a compact car. It's in between the Mokka and the Grandland, and so it's definitely great for this segment. Steering wheel, really nice. The buttons are it's a single button operation, but it doesn't have indentations, so it's a little bit tricky. You have to get used to knowing which button you're pressing. But other than that, I really like the grip. Nice displays. This one, unfortunately, being a production prototype, doesn't work. This does, and it's really slick. You have, of course, phone mirroring. In fact, if you get a lower version of the car, what they will do is, instead of giving you a very budget, ugly-looking radio unit, they will not give you anything at all, but a phone mount instead, and they have a specific app that they've designed that you can download on your phone, and you can control the app through the steering wheel controls, and it basically becomes an extension of the infotainment, and you can stream everything from your phone to the radio, to the car speakers with Bluetooth. That being said, there are no buttons for the volume control. There are buttons for the air conditioning unit, which is nice here. Again, being a prototype, this doesn't work. I suspect there will be a screen here which shows you the temperature and the speed. We'll take a closer look once we actually get the final production car to drive. Wireless phone charging, USB-C, and something cool down here. Instead of having rigid beverage holders, they've kind of given you this elastic strap on the side, so if you have a large bottle, it kind of grips it in naturally through that way. You could even put a tablet here, and it holds it in place. And look at that cool little detail. Nice. I always like to see these little things. Gear selector up here, electronic parking brake, no rubber lining down here, and a pretty shallow sounding armrest. But again, built to a price, and as long as that price is reasonable, it's fine in my books. Nice attention to detail when it comes to storage. Rubber lined shelf here. You can even probably fit a phone. A smaller one is here on the left side. You can't really see it right now. The glove box is also really cavernous, although it's not damped. Again, hey, it all depends on the price. The backseat of the Frontera is a bit of a mixed bag if you ask me. First of all, the seats are actually really nice and wide, really comfortable. You'll also notice that it's a very flat bench, which means that 3 people sitting abreast will not be uncomfortable because, you know, it doesn't have that curved cushion on the side. So definitely good for 3 people, pretty wide. That being said, because of this skateboard architecture and the batteries being down here, the seats are a little bit lower. This bench feels low, and therefore my feet are a little bit upright. You can see my knees up, and there's no under-thigh support. I could slide my feet into the front. If the seat was a little bit higher, then I would be a little bit more comfortable. I'm 5'8", or about 1.73 meters, so leg room itself is not an issue. The materials of the seats are, again, really fantastic. Lots of smart storage in the seats in front of you with these pouches, the bigger pouch here, a bit of a scooped out rear area here, so if you have really long legs, you can tuck your knees in between. No air conditioning vents, but charging ports, so mixed bag there as well. Split folding seats, 60/40, no center armrest, mixed bag there as well. Smart ways to conceal the ISOFIX points with these zippers, which is really nice, which I really enjoy, instead of those flaps. But if you look at the door panel, it's just monochrome, hollow, not very confidence inspiring in terms of quality. So again, mixed bag. Let's take a look at the trunk. This is 460 liters of boot space. To give you an idea, here is Michelle's cabin trolley bag. It fits in really easily. You could even stack it like this, and plenty more space for more of them. If you put the seats down, as I said, 60/40, you get 1,600 liters of space. There's one more trick up its sleeve. I can drop the floor like this, and now you have more volume just in the back, but of course a large lip if you wanted to load longer items. Speaking of which, let me pull out our trusty Autogefühl ruler of truth. Let's see, what do we get from the back seat? If it were to be up to here, this is about 78 centimeters, or about 31 inches. Not too long, if I'm honest. The width seems a bit more useful, so that's about 96 centimeters, or about 38 inches. But if we were to fold the seats now, let's take a quick peek at this. And all the way down there, about that is 165 centimeters, or about 64, 65 inches. So, well, definitely much more practical than the previous Frontera with this all-new platform. And I think for a small family, this is plenty. Cost-cutting as well with these elastic bands, but hey, all depends on the cost, right? We have very little information at the time of filming in terms of powertrain and drivetrain options, but what I can tell you is they plan to give you about 400 kilometers of range, and the electric motor should have about 113 horsepower. They're so tight-lipped, in fact, that I can't even open the hood to look what's inside, but I speculate that you will find the 1.2-liter turbo petrol mild hybrid in either 100 horsepower or 136 horsepower states of tune. So that means you guys need to subscribe so that you don't miss the video when we finally get a chance to drive this car. But in the meantime, why don't you check out one of these other episodes?